Hello, all. Welcome to our curiosity chat on building narratives on LinkedIn for embracing curiosity. I am Shirin Kopriji. I am the curiosity coach, and with me here today is Beulah Toth, who is a fellow Founder Institute mentor, and whom I would like to characterize also as a dream realizer because of her amazing strategizing skills, her ability to learn, and also her ability to communicate with impact. And thank you very much for joining me in this chat and later the conversation, Beulah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for such a kind introduction, Sharon. I don't know if I would describe myself as a dream realizer, but I love working with founders and business owners and operators to help them realize their dreams. It's like my favorite thing to do is help amplify the very amazing missions and impact that people are trying to make and really just help that shine. So I'm really excited to talk about how we can do that with LinkedIn today. And even though that seems so kind of small and, kind of random, or maybe you're just like, oh, it's just my digital business card. It actually is a really big lever. And I'm really excited to talk about that. Yeah.
Great. Yes. Well, according to all the things I hear about you, I know people will agree with my introduction, and I'm again very honored to be with you here today. Um, I'm curious about, yes, what narrative building means to you on LinkedIn. To me, it's stories emerging in a sea of information, but the word is yours.
Yeah. So when I think about narrative building, there's a few different ways that we can talk about that. So that can be, your personal narrative, like what is my professional story or journey or personal sort of approach or way of thinking that I really want to showcase to the world. And then there's also narrative building from a more brand perspective. What are the stories that are really meaningful to my audience that I need to be connecting with? So depending on where we want to go there, those are two types of narrative building that are important when it comes to thought leadership.
So yeah, what really showed up is uh, two different narratives, the person's narrative and the brand's narrative.
Mhm.
What inspired you for creating knowledge around this topic?
Hmm. Well, I think when it comes to your personal narrative, but also with your brand, because often it is an extension kind of what you're passionate about. You're building a business around what you care about and the people you care to serve. I think it's really, really hard because I think a lot of us are really humble. We tend to not minimize, but sometimes minimize the impact and the amazing, sort of outcomes that we facilitate for our clients. So sometimes it's hard to really capture that magic. And then sometimes it's also just, when you're too close to it, you just don't see it in maybe the right light, or, you're like, oh, I never thought of it quite in that way. So I think what's really important about this kind of exercise is it helps you see yourself from a more objective lens so that you can tell your story in a way that's really going to resonate with the people that you really want to reach at the end of the day. And so I think that that can be challenging work to do ourselves in the same way that it's challenging to introduce yourself at a party. You're like, how do I condense myself down to like a two-sentence introduction? But it's worthy work and you can get there with like a few little frameworks and exercises and then over time. So it is possible, but it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. And what I hear is the value of caring. Your caring comes out, and I love the name of your company, if I am correct, Be Obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
You truly care about other people's stories really showing up in all the sea of information,
Hmm.
right? Would you also say that approaching the sea of information we put out there in narratives as valuing caring for our readers and clients and different kinds of stakeholders, what is the value one honors
Hmm.
when creating narratives?
100%. I love that you asked that because so many times we think about, we're sometimes shy about sharing our own thinking online, but really what you're doing is you're giving people a gift and creating essentially like a bridge of connection for them to come meet you and be
Mhm.
able to partner with you and engage in a transformation that they would not be able to have without you. So I think being able to just sometimes it takes a little bravery to talk about yourself or talk about your successes, especially if you're, kind of wired to be a little more shy. But the outcome and the value of doing that work is it enables more people to be attracted to you and really see that, like, yeah, this is the type of person that I need thinking on my behalf. Like, I can't do this alone. And I think at the end of the day, when it comes to consultants and coaches in particular, thought leadership and really telling that personal story and showcasing that work is so, so important because it's not just about tactics or skills. People work with you because they go, "Oh, she's or he is the right person to work with. They're the type of person that I need, to go forehead to forehead with and really help me solve my problem." And so really showing how your own brain works, even if it's a little weird and wild, like we all like that, or, we all have that. And so just putting that out there so that people can see that you're a great person to work with and you're unique and you're a textured, interesting person gets people excited. And then they can
Mhm.
come in and, reach out to you and say, hey, let's have a conversation. And then the other side of that, not to talk too long here, but like the other side of that is it makes your first conversations much more engaging and fruitful because
Mhm.
they've already seen a little bit of your thinking. They can sort of bring some of that up and you can have a
Mhm.
really focused and productive conversation from a place of authority and that they're recognizing why you're a professional or why you're an expert at what you do.
Wow, wow. You just shared so much in wisdom, I feel like that I to those who may not be familiar with the term loving kindness, it's really valuing yourself and valuing others that
Yeah.
shows up as a value in what you said. And I also love how you refer to how people think creatively and integrate things, they associate, they make connections, and the importance of feelings, what we evoke in others. And that's how they remember, right? It's the
Yeah.
feeling that people
Yeah, I you
remember.
touched on something so important because I think that is often what you're missing out on, if you
Hmm.
have generic or kind of bland terms that talk about the amazing dynamic person you actually are behind all that. If you
Uh-huh.
are leading with more generic terms, then people don't have the opportunity to see that. But if you're using vivid language, really leading with your authentic self, really putting the truth of what your impact is and the value that you create in other people's lives and the transformations that you enable, if
Hmm.
that shines through, then yeah, people like can really see it and they can be drawn to it. And then it's just all so much more effective. So I think that is so key. And that language is how you create the most associations in someone's mind. And using those, more calibrated words, more vivid language is one of the best ways to do that because often the first experience that someone has with you is reading something about you and also
Hmm.
seeing some other visuals too, like, your picture and some other things, but it's verbal and it's visual coming together and all of those are very associative.
Wonderful. So if we were, what are you? Let's say you're looking at someone's activity. What are a few things that you get curious about uh, when you look at their narrative building in on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So a few things that come to mind that we're all familiar with would be your LinkedIn picture and your LinkedIn headline. So
Mhm.
of all of your sort of profile real estate, that is the parts that get the most interaction and visibility because your picture and then your LinkedIn headline are next to all your comments, they're next to all your posts. When somebody
Mhm.
up. It's the first thing that they see. So it's really important. And so that headline is, really a great opportunity for you to summarize like either the transformation that you enable, maybe show a little personality, show that you're really fun. Like if you have like a
Uh-huh.
fun nickname for like the type of consultant you are or something like that, just kind of like get people to be like, who is that? They seem interested. Again,
Uh-huh.
pique their curiosity. And then,
Uh-huh.
a photo or some sort of profile image that just, not only makes you look professional, I mean, that's of course, but just makes you look human and good to work with. Again, with coaches and consultants, like being good to work with is kind of a cornerstone, because that's how the relationship and results happen. And so, really, just having that sort of openness and approachability and just like genuine warmth come through your photo, I think both of those things are huge levers to like really open the door for people to be, clicking on your profile and thinking, maybe this is the person I need to engage with right now.
It's amazing how important. I mean, there's so much information we put on our profiles, but you're saying like one thing to be really attention awakening is the photo and the what did you call
The headline,
the
yeah.
headline, the headline. And considering the speed of our lives today, right? Like there's such little time
Yeah. Yeah, people
for
make decisions.
capturing information.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think, like, one, we're busy, we're scrolling feeds really fast. And then
Hmm.
two, even when people are in decision-making mode, you look at like research that's been done for business to business purchasing behavior. People tend to make snap judgments about people and brands with like in less than 7 seconds after
Hmm.
experiencing content. And that's
Uh-huh.
like a generous, longer term sort of measurement. Oftentimes it's even less than that. So and people tend to not even really revise those evaluations over time. They might think that they do, but they've actually seen that like those snap judgments kind of stick. So we
Yeah.
really want to make sure that we're positioning ourselves, just putting our best foot forward, and so that people are thinking the right things about us. And a big part of that, is having our true selves come across. Like when you're
Yeah.
a capable, amazing professional, that should really shine. And if you're really fun and interesting to work with, that should
Hmm.
also shine and come through with your headline so that more people can appreciate it.
And considering the any future trends, I'm thinking this remains something to be to pay attention to. Is there anything else you would like to say based on how things are evolving on social media that we should highlight today?
Yeah, I think that LinkedIn, I don't know as much about trends to chase necessarily, but what I think is an amazing opportunity that LinkedIn provides that is a no cost way for all of us to get better is that it offers a really wonderful opportunity that's low lift, no cost for you to test messaging with the people that you're trying to
Hmm.
reach. So you can play around with your headline, play around with your profile image, play
Oh.
around with the types of content you post, and then see what it attracts. Like if you have a target client, are you getting more of those people leaning in or people bringing up your posts when you have discovery calls or things like that? You can really learn a lot. Whereas it's like a huge endeavor to like update your website and change all your messaging or
Hmm.
a new one pager and all these different things, but it's so low lift and you can actually learn a lot just from changing your headline. Like, when I talk about my role in this way, or if I say I'm this type of strategist, this type of person reaches out to me. And when I do it this way, I get this other type of client that seems interested. So you can just learn a lot. So again, with the
Learn a
being
lot.
curious, yeah, being curious, you can really use LinkedIn to learn a ton about yourself
Wow.
and your clients.
Really nice way of coming to an end for this chat only. I see that we can talk about many things, but this is really appears very important to me too. The ability to experiment and learn through LinkedIn so that you can come up with a better strategy for bigger investment like the website, if you're going to have a website. Um, but definitely a great way of learning design thinking, blind design thinking on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, Beulah. Ready for our conversation with others?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.